Hi guys, it's Phil here. It's your lightning process birthday. It must be. You've done the research forms 12 months on from when you first did the lightning process. So thank you so much for going the distance with this for us. We really, really appreciate it. And I would hope that your life has absolutely transformed over the last year. So I'd like you to just think about that just for a minute. As you look at this day, this year, and compare it to much the same day last year, what positive changes have you noticed? Now that's a question hopefully you'll become more and more familiar with over the last year. What positive changes have you noticed? Allows you to focus on what has changed. And it's important to, at moments like this, to just reflect and think, right, what is different? Because, you know, we can kind of get immune to the change that has occurred because it now has become normal and not realize how significantly different it is. So just take a few moments and think, what are the three most significant differences that I have achieved by using the lightning process and influencing my life and body in a different way over the last year? Now obviously I can't hear what you're saying, but well done. I bet it's brilliant. It must be. You know, I'm in a very interesting position where most of the people who do the lightning process now in the world don't get trained by me, they get trained by my brilliant practitioners around the world. And that's an incredible thing, to think that you've got these changes because of something I designed that we've managed to replicate well enough that some people in New Zealand, Australia, America are producing the same results. So you should be very proud of yourself for having made those changes. And hopefully you're at the point now where you realize this is a done deal. There's no going back. Those old pathways should have been shut up by now and shut shop and gone away. And if ever you find yourself sneaking into the pit, you've got the tools so you can really turn this around. And of course, we're always there for you as well, you know, in the unlikely event that you find yourself going back into your old ways. It's pretty unlikely if you've got to this stage. So I thought finally what I'd talk about is a couple of things. First of all, using the process, not just when we're stuck in the pit, but how do we enhance our performance? And we have a whole program about this called the P4 that we take into business and performance. But it's looking about, okay, I'm doing a project right now at work or at home. What would be the ideal state to be in? Not I'm just doing it fine, but using the process when we're not even in the pit. Just kind of going, I'm doing great. But, so we don't even have to do a stop, we just move straight into a coach. Coach says, you know, you're doing fantastically. How, you know, what would you love to feel? How would you love to feel about this project? What would be the most brilliant way to be? And then you'd answer the question. It would be something like, you know, focused, invigorated, creative. And then we could use the process for that. Okay, take yourself back to a time when you felt really creative, really focused, really invigorated. Really connecting up with that will start to juice the neurons of that and allow you to engage with your brain, not just in a way of getting out of the pit, but moving into being the most you that you could be, the life that you love. So think about that, where you could use the process to be even more focused in the way that you want to. What else would be useful for you a year from now? Well, hopefully you've told other people about the process, or other people have kind of gone, what's happened to you? You're really different. That things have changed in that way, that people have noticed it. That's quite a cool thing to happen. Some of you may be thinking about, do I want to become a lightning process practitioner or do some training courses, some cool training courses we do. Again, as I talked about a few months back, keeping this stuff alive is one of the challenges when the world doesn't think this way. One of the cool things is if you can be in a work group or a family where this is a common way of being, then life just becomes a hell of a lot easier, because where problems occur is where people are all stuck in the pit. What else is useful? Well, I think the final thing possibly to talk about is your future. So what I'd like you to do just for a moment is I'd just like you to imagine if you could see your future as a line, which direction would it go in? Would it go in front of you? Would it go behind you, above you, below you? Just check it out. If you were to imagine your future as a line, which direction would it go in? Now for most people it will be in front of them or to their right. This is my right. So if it isn't there, that's fine, but that's where it is for most people. What I'd like you to do as you think about the line, whatever it is just to start to enhance it. To notice if you change the colour of it, what colour is it to start with? Change that colour and keep it, go back to it in a minute if you want, but just cycle through all the possible colours, including the sparkly, the gold, the glistening, the neon, the brilliant colours, the muted colours, the pastels, any colour you want. You may go back to the original one you chose, but very often people will find when they have a choice, they choose a different colour, and suddenly their future feels better, brighter, lighter. Change the lighting of the line. Make sure the line is brightly lit, so it's got a little bit of sparkle, dust and magic in it. What temperature is that line if you were touching it? Is it hot, is it cold? Or is that how it should be? Change it, see what feels best. Does it undulate as it goes forwards, or is it up, or is it down, or is it flat? Change that around and see which feels best. You have the power, once you understand this line, to change it in many, many different ways. What texture does it have? If it was to run your hand along that line, would it be smooth, soft, gritty, velvety? What? Change it to whatever texture that feels good for you. And finally, what aroma would you like to have? Would you like to have jasmine or rose, or the smell of freshly baked bread, or coffee roasting? What flavour would you love that to be? What aroma, what smell, what scent? And what music, what soundtrack would you like to have into your future? It'd be like, calming music. Would it be like outrageous jazz, rock, hip hop, beautiful classical music? What for you? You could have anything you want. Would be the soundtrack of that future. And when you've got it, so all those elements are just how you'd want them to be, just float into it in your mind's eye. Feel what it feels like to be in your future in this way. Because what happens is it starts to change what we think about our future. So, think about these things. What you've achieved. How much of the time you're in the life that you love. How you can enhance your state even further and start to design a future to step into that really, really makes a difference to you and therefore to everybody that you come into contact with. So thank you so much for taking the time to be part of this extraordinary research project. We'll be publishing the data as soon as we can. And do keep in touch. See you on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and so on. And keep doing what you're doing. Bye now.